Good morning. Welcome to the 5th Tuesday of July, which gives us an opportunity to explore a bonus psalm together this month. And with your accompaniment, I'd like to spend this extra time exploring the first 4 verses of Psalm 61, which is just another hymn that underscores the truth that some of life's sweetest songs were born in its darkest circumstances. To summarize the context, Absalom had rebelled, Israel had revolted, and David was on the run again. Now, I'm sure that when he finally got through the issue of Saul, he felt like that particular part of his life was over. At least I'll never be running again. And here he is. Life has a way of doing that to us. David was a man who, by his own admission here in the text, was overwhelmed at this moment. And that is a condition with which we have become far too familiar. Somewhere, some way, we have joined the brotherhood of the overburdened. I don't remember signing up. However, in this psalm, David reminds us that the overwhelmed can still overcome. And I'd like to find out how he did it. So let's get into these verses together today. Let's begin at verse 1. And the cry of the overwhelmed. The cry of the overwhelmed. Hear my cry, O God. Attend unto my prayer. It's a desperate plea. Hear my cry, O God. Scholars tell me that the word rendered here as cry literally meant a plaintive plea, a piercing or a ringing cry. What it says to you and I is don't go silent when things go south. Get vocal. Let God hear the passion in your voice. Hear my cry, attend unto my prayer. God, are you listening? Are you paying attention to me? I need you to show up during my prayer time. It's a desperate plea from a distant place. Look at verse 2, from the end of the earth. From the end of the earth. Now, David's not that far away from Jerusalem physically. But mentally, emotionally, and most importantly, spiritually, it seems like God is 1,000,000 miles away. But he's going to pray anyway. From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. You're never too far away from God to stop and pray. Look then at the confession of the overwhelmed. When my heart is overwhelmed. By all means, be vocal. But most importantly, be honest. Lord, I am overwhelmed. That word means enveloped. It's caught me. It's packaged me up. I'm faint. I'm weak. How did a man like David end up in a place like this? How do we? Sometimes it's just the situations of life. Life throws so many things at us from so many different angles. And as some have said, we wind up in that traffic jam of life when we're the middle generation and we're helping the generation behind us and we're trying to help the generation that's ahead of us, and life is coming from so many different directions, we're just overwhelmed with it. And then there are times it's the sicknesses of life. Well, that one's got very close to home here lately, hasn't it? When it's just, we're just tired of being sick and tired. There are times, sadly, it's the sins in our lives that overwhelm us. But can I tell you today, sometimes it's the service of the Lord. I think of Moses, Elijah, the list goes on and on. But to put it plainly, if getting weary in well-doing wasn't a possibility, then Paul wouldn't have warned us against it. So we've cried, we've confessed, and now what? That brings us to the turning point in the psalm and in the picture. And we see the confidence of the overwhelmed. As long as we are consistently looking at the situations and the circumstances that are around us, it's going to leave us feeling overwhelmed, underprepared. And the psalmist knew that if he's going to become an overcomer, then he's got to change his perspective. And that is exactly what David did in the text. He didn't deny the difficulty. He didn't deny the distance, but he set his gaze back upon the Lord, and he began to bolster his confidence by considering first his refuge. And that put a song back in his heart. He sang of the provision of God. He sang of the performance of God. He sang of the protection of God. Listen to it. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock. I don't know what to do, but I know where to go. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. God, you're above this. Look at verse 3. For thou hast been in the midst of being overwhelmed. Look back over your life and see what God has been. Thou hast been a shelter for me and a strong tower from mine enemy. Spurgeon said, God is too good to be unkind. He's too wise to be mistaken. When you cannot trace his hand, trust his heart. Now David's whole attitude has changed. He draws on past faithfulness to fuel present confidence. Look at verse 4 in his resolution. I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. I will trust in the covert of thy wings, Selah. Notice here that David isn't merely seeking deliverance. He's looking for a dwelling place. Here the rock, the shelter, the strong tower have given way to something more personal. I'll trust in the covert of thy wings. If I can get there, if I can make it to that place, I will trust. I will rest. I will not strive. I will not struggle, but I will rest in the peace of your presence. That's what I'm looking for. That brings us back to verse 2, where we close with the concern of the overwhelmed. How do I get there? Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. There's the problem. That rock is too high for me. Hence David's cry for help. God, I see it. I know where I need to be, but I can't get there from here. You're going to have to help me. Now, a number of commentators tell me that is the correct exegesis of this text. So David goes back to his previous life and he cries, lead me. That's a shepherding term, one with which he was well familiar. For David had been a shepherd, but now David was a sheep. He goes back to Psalm 23. Lord, you are my shepherd. You've led me beside still waters. You've guided my life. Now I need you to lead me to that place that you have provided for me. And in both Psalms 27 and 40, he testifies of how God did just that. So the answer this morning is not in climbing harder. It's in surrendering sooner. It's realizing that way is too high for me. That God has a provision, God has a protection, God has this place, but I can't get there. I need God to put me in his place. And that, brothers and sisters, is ultimately how the overwhelmed can overcome. God bless you this morning.